Hello everyone and welcome to my video. So I'm gonna let everyone know this just right now. There's no script. I am literally just gonna talk throughout this whole video all blind and everything. So if you hear a lot of like ums or quietness or me just stuttering my words, that's because again, no script, no nothing, and that's only due to the fact that this video should have been uploaded a few years ago, maybe 2, 3 years ago. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember when, but this video should have been released. So that's on me. And well, I guess with that said, I'm gonna kind of jump into the video from here. So with that said, let's go right in. Welcome everyone to some Pikmin 2 multiplayer with my girlfriend. And I'm gonna just say this again from the intro. This video should have been released I don't know, for maybe, I don't know, again, a year or two, but it's just been a video sitting in my computer for a long time now. And the reason I'm bringing this out now is because there are some videos and recordings that I have that I want to start doing, but as my girlfriend mentioned to me, she told me, you know, instead of working on those other videos and instead of like trying to think of new ideas to do, you should probably finish this one because it's been a video that's just been sitting here for so long. And while I could sit down, make a script and do all that stuff, I'm going to be completely honest, like I'm just kind of lazy for that, and I want to kind of change up like the content a little bit where it's like, I edit and people are just talking, like the actual recording itself is just talking, right? There's no voiceover or whatnot. Problem with this is that these recordings that I have like about 6 of them. Yeah, there's no like audio of our recording, so, or like of our voices, so that is why I'm having to do this voiceover. And one of the main reasons I'm also doing this video with the voiceover is because this video, technically, I wanted it to be a bit of a surprise to my girlfriend because let's break it down into the backstory here real quick. So Pikmin 2 was just a game that I enjoyed playing growing up, and I just remember like as a kid just getting home from school every day, opening, like, what is it, putting my or sorry, turning on my GameCube and then just sitting there and playing the game. I remember, if anyone has played Pikmin 2, that this game has like a day system, and within that day system, you know they would just count how many days, as you can see from the top right of my screen. I think I had like about 200 plus days. So that kind of shows you how committed I was. But that's also because I was pretty stupid and I didn't understand that there's only limited treasure. I thought it was like unlimited into the game. So that was just me being stupid. And another reason, like, the video is also like why I'm making this video was because after 10 plus years or something, because like I said, it was like when I was a kid, and that was like so long ago. um I've been getting more YouTube videos of like Pikmin 2, and that's also just because of the fact that I've been trying to slowly kind of break out of that competitiveness that I have of when it comes to like competing in like League or Valorant and whatnot like that. So I wanted to kind of like take a step back and then start playing some of these older games that I used to play. Pikmin 2 kind of showed up, and from that, like on my YouTube feed, I've been watching a lot of that, and then all of a sudden I'm like in that mood being like, I want to play some Pikmin 2. And so I get the emulator, I get the ROM, and I'm playing this. I find out there's a multiplayer version, and in my brain I was thinking I could run this solo, right? And I could just not record it, and I could just play it just to play it because it's nostalgic. Or I can get my girlfriend who has never played any of these types of older games. So if you want to see more of that, or if you want to see her play those type of games, you should leave a comment below telling me that, or at the very least, give this video a like, and if you do comment below, maybe recommend a game for her to play, because she doesn't really play any of these types of games. So going back into why I'm making this video again, it's because I wanted her to experience kind of like what I experienced growing up with like all these amazing games. Like, it's not just Pikmin 2, right? There's also like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and I could name other games. I will be real, I can go down the list, but I really just want to get this video out. So let me kind of jump into the Pikmin video, because this is like a long intro. But with that said, yeah, I mean, welcome to some Pikmin 2. My girlfriend's first time experiencing it. I don't know what the title of the video is going to be, but we'll see. All right. Enjoy the video. So I should also probably just mention what you guys can expect from this video. Uh, for the most part, what I'm going to have is, or the structure of the video is probably going to be me breaking down what we do in each day, how the caves go about, or how we go about each cave, and that should be it for the most part. Her perspective is Almar, while I am Louis on the bottom side. So for anyone that's confused, there you go. And secondly, I just want you guys to know that the biggest reason for this video, because I was watching back a little bit on my audio. The biggest reason is because I just wanted this to be kind of like more of a memory type of thing for her. So, or for the both of us really, so we can kind of like watch back and just see how stupid we were when we were playing, or see any funny moments that we had. But kind of with that said, I also, because it's kind of her experience and I've already played the game fully, what I'm trying to do here is just so no one thinks like, are you gonna do everything or blah 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 blah. I don't know what you might say. No. The way that this is gonna work is, or the way that I kind of played it out here was, for the most part, I would have her experience everything for the first time, so I would have her kind of like lead everything, but of course I would just kind of be more of like, I don't know, give me like a side character that just kind of like is just over the main character's shoulder, and that's like kind of guiding them a little bit, being like, maybe you should kind of do this, but you don't have to do this if you don't want to, like that was me, right? I wasn't gonna sit back and do nothing, but of course I wasn't gonna try and do everything, if that makes sense. So yeah, I guess with that said, let's just jump right into the first cave though, because I don't think you need to know what happens really in this day 2. We were just farming Pikmins and whatnot. But yeah. So we enter the first cave, which is the Emergence Cave. Uh, Pretty basic like cave. Nothing too crazy. No weaknesses or whatnot. Because normally when you enter a cave in Pikmin, they normally tell you like, oh, these are kind of the recommended Pikmin you should have. And this being the first cave, obviously there's nothing too crazy. So to kind of fast forward a bit, I'll show you the treasure we got, and so as we dive into the next sub-level, which is probably the final sub-level, while this is the beginner cave, it probably, in my opinion, is one of the most busted cave, just due to the fact that they give us one of the best Pikmins, probably the most overpowered Pikmin in this game, which is the purples. Yep. Like, I don't even know what they were thinking when they made it, but I swear I didn't think purples were that OP when I was a kid. But after seeing so many videos of purples and just like people talking about them, hey, I ain't gonna lie, they are busted. And I mean, I'm kind of sad that their OPness is kind of gone in the later games, but hey, you know, we have fun in Pikmin 2 with it, so we should just abuse it until then, right? So, what makes Purple Pikmin OP? Well, there's two reasons. One, they pretty much make up 10 Pikmins, and throughout the game, when we showcase the treasures, there's gonna be about, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know how many, but there are a few treasures that is gonna be over 100 like Pikmins needed. And the benefits of the purple is that because they make up 10 Pikmins, you only need one, and the maximum Pikmin capacity that you can carry on your team is 100. That kind of just fills up, right? So kind of with that said, that's one of the main reasons they're pretty OP. But the second reason, and I think this is where people are like saying this is the main reason, or like this is why they're too strong, and it's the fact that purple Pikmins have this stun effect, and with this stun effect, I believe most enemies, including bosses, if you throw the purple Pikmin at them, they will get stunned, and it just becomes completely broken, because if you have a whole army of them, you can just start full spamming, and pretty much no enemies or most bosses can't do anything with it. I'll probably talk about some bosses that might not be affected by the stun, but regardless, that's the main reason why these purples are so OP. And I mean, I'm kind of glad that there's a limit, because when it comes to purple Pikmins and the upcoming Pikmin that I will talk about, there is a limit to how much you can find like these buds, because they can only be found in caves versus like the standard red, blue, or yellow. So yeah. But with that said, we leave through the geysers because that's kind of our only way to get out, and then we have a few cutscenes. It ends the day, so we enter day 3. So we pretty much plan out the day where, my girlfriend is breaking down the wall while you guys see me pretty much carrying these berries. And I don't know if they're in any other locations. They might be. We'll probably see when I bring it up. But at least when you're in the Awakening Woods, there's this place really early on next to your base that carries these berries. And what happens when your Pikmin brings these berries back? They pretty much create something called the Ultra Spicy Spray. And what this does is that it pretty much just buffs up your Pikmin so that they move faster, they're carrying things faster, and they're attacking faster. Essentially, they're just Giga Buff, right? And I'm just going around collecting that while she's pretty much breaking down the walls to kind of open up the map, because I thought it'd probably be better if I handled doing kind of like these side jobs that, you know, they kind of like take up a bit of a grind, while, I let her kind of do more of the exploration part because of, her first time playing. Also, I'm just going to show some like clips from her perspective of things that she was doing, because I thought it was just pretty funny. Like over here, she was trying to break down the wall and she accidentally threw one of the red Pikmins over, not realizing that was an enemy. And we're over here trying to like fight the enemy, and oh yes, here is also a cutscene with the flower buds. So Pikmins can get like flowers on their heads. They have like 3 stages. Obviously, the most basic one is the leaf on top of their head, but then there's also this flower stage where there's just a flower on top. It just benefits. It's just better Pikmins, pretty much. But yeah, I just thought it was pretty funny how she's just struggling because she's trying to like throw all the Pikmins over, being like, "We gotta save you." And I'm not gonna lie, that red Pikmin up there, he is a champ right now. Like, that guy he was doing everything he can to survive, but it was unlucky that we couldn't save him. And here she was spooked by this like plant enemy. I don't know what they're called, but she was spooked about this. I kind of wish we had audio, because honestly you would have heard her reaction, but we don't, sadly. But right here was also an example of the purple Pikmin just stunning. It was pretty cool to see. Also very wild that she just threw a red Pikmin thinking that this was okay. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I see purple guys, I'm thinking, does this look normal? Does this look normal? But I thought it was pretty silly, so I had to showcase this. And yeah, this is kind of like the opening to, me kind of explaining to her, yeah, there are these white Pikmins and we'll see them in a bit. But with everything said, we now enter our next cave, which is the Hole of Bees. There wasn't really much we did besides fight these grubs. I don't know their official names, but pretty much the purple grubs are the aggressive ones. They're the ones that actually can kill your Pikmin. But then you have like the white ones that are pretty passive. I don't think they do anything, to be honest. So yeah, that's kind of all we did in this floor. And we also got the D-pad controller, treasure, whatever it is called in this game. I mean, here it is on screen. But then we enter the next layer, and in this layer we get some more purple Pikmin, so that's exciting. And finally, for the next 2 stages, we just kind of gather treasures. The only new like hazard was like these fire geysers that just shoots out like flames, and only like fire Pikmins can go through them / break them. So yeah, here are the 3 treasures that we collected. Now we're at the final floor, a boss floor. For those that have played this game, you probably know who is this, and the boss that we're up against is the Empress Bullblacks. Now, I remember playing this, and I was waiting to edit this part because this is probably the funniest thing, and this is why, I'm having my girlfriend play it for the first time, because like I said, she's the one that's supposed to handle everything first before I decide, or, in case she asks, like, she needs help, then I will help, right? But I was so curious on what she would do, because I will explain how the mechanics works once we fight it. But first, I want to show you guys this clip because I thought it was actually really funny. I remember telling her to just separate her Pikmins, but she was too close, so the purple started attacking the Empress, right? And then she panicked and was like, well, time to full charge, and here is how the boss works. The boss starts rolling around, and she's thinking like, oh my god, no, all my Pikmins are dying, and she doesn't know the cycle, so she keeps throwing the damn Pikmins, and luckily 2 survive, but 2 survive! We lost almost every single Pikmin we had, and the reaction of this was just too funny to me because I was like, oh my god, she just kept throwing them, and then eventually, instead of calling them back, because she's thinking, let's just smack the Empress. No, we get an extinction, and well, that's kind of how the run went. Um, I don't know. I don't know what to say. We obviously don't save because I don't want to save and like have to redo getting everything. And now I'm gonna just show you the. Well, I'm gonna show you the clip of us fighting it again. But I just thought that was way too funny to not put into the video. And we're back here at the boss, and yeah, we now have custom skins. I'm Club Penguin, hello, and she's the rubber ducky. So I'm gonna explain how the boss works now because after that attempt, I think it's fair for me pretty much to explain it to her, which was what's happening in the video, and I'm going to explain it to you guys now. So the way that the Empress works is pretty simple. The Empress has, as you saw earlier with that mechanic, she has a roll mechanic, and I don't know the cycle exactly. All I know is that when you see her roll, just call your Pikmin back and just wait for her to stop rolling. And I believe every time she rolls and she hits the wall, she will pretty much have rocks fall from the sky. I don't know if it's in this particular boss, like in this first time we see her, because you will encounter her another time, and or maybe 2 more times, which I will explain when that happens, because it does become a little bit harder. But I don't know if rocks fall in this one. But for the most part, all you do is you just throw your Pikmins at her, nothing crazy. After you throw your Pikmins, just call them back when you see her shake like this, and when she shakes, you'll know she's ready to spin or roll around. And when that happens, you know, just wait for everything to finish and you kill her. And with that said, we kind of succeed in doing that. Well, she does, and we get the treasure, and that's pretty much how the cave went. So, you know, you're in for an adventure for the video. That's all I will say. I should probably also explain that when you defeat a boss, you get a treasure from them. And the treasures are different from the collectible treasure that you would find like in the other stages or in the open world. These treasures that we collect from bosses normally give you a power-up towards Olimar in them. So this particular treasure, the prototype detector, what it does, as you see on the screen, we have this meter, and what the meter does is that it just helps us locate treasure. So it's just really helpful, and well, more bosses will have more upgrades that I will explain later on. A lot of explaining, but hopefully you guys have been keeping up with the video though. Thank you guys for, you know, if you're still watching here, thank you. So for the most part, after getting out of the cave, keep in mind, once we're in a cave, the day doesn't actually pass. So we're still on day 3 and there's still a lot to do. And for the most part, she's getting the hang of everything for combat in the sense of throwing your Pikmin. She finds another cave here, and all we're doing right now is just farm it up a little bit before we enter the next cave, which is why we're just bringing in some resources. And for some reason, I gotta show this. For some reason, by the way, I'm telling her, okay, let's go into that cave, right? She decides to walk on the water, and my gosh, I know this is probably everyone's first instinct. I'm not gonna lie, I probably did it, so much of the poison thing I probably did in my first playthrough, but oh my goodness. It's a Bulblax, an Empress Bulblax moment again. We just lost so many Pikmins, and then I think I was just there, I'm pretty sure my reaction, I was sitting there like, I'm pretty sure I was laughing my butt off, and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm telling her, I think we should restart, unless you want to grind again, so, we're probably going to fast forward. I'll probably fast forward back into the cave, but that was crazy. That was like a second time that happened. And now she's sitting in like her own corner. That is so awkward. But yeah, I will break into the next cave because I'm pretty sure we just restarted, since I am explaining how water needs water Pikmin, blue Pikmin, right? And yeah, so let's move to the next cave. We now enter the next cave, which is called the White Flower Garden, and as the name tells, this is where we meet the White Pikmin, also known as the Poison Pikmins. So starting off in this first sub-level, we're pretty much just fighting off these grubs, and then we are going to grab the treasure that's right over there on my screen. We did change our character skins again. I was Club Penguin, but now I'm SpongeBob. We had a rubber ducky, but now she's I don't I don't know this character from the top of my head. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know the name, don't know what game. So if you guys don't mind, just comment below. Please let me know because I am curious to know what game this character is from because I have zero idea. So at this stage, we meet a new enemy. It's the fiery blowhog. Just want to showcase the fiery blowhog yeeting our red pigments away. Nothing too crazy on this sub level. We got like 2 more treasures. Here they are. So our third sub level, we meet our white pigments. Well, soon to be white pigments. Uh, we throw some red pigments on here mainly because, as I mentioned earlier, you can only find white and purple pigments in caves, and I believe they are limited to like how much you can have in total of them. So that's why instead of throwing our purple pigments, we're throwing our red ones because we can have infinite red pigments pretty much. Versus the purple ones, we would have to go back to the caves where we got them, and have to grind it up a little bit from there, and that's just a little bit tedious, so that's why we're using the red pigments here. And to go into a little more details like about these white pigments special abilities, because every pigment has a ability to them, right? The purples have their stun, they're considered like 10 pigments as one pretty much. The poison pigment on the other hand, they have 2 effects. For one, they can deal with the poison, right? So the poisonous wall that we saw earlier. Or the other cool thing about them is they have this secret thing to them where they can scout treasure that is like hidden, pretty much underground, right? And we're about to showcase it here. As you can see, I'm moving the pigment around, or sorry, not moving the pigment around, but the white pigments are digging up treasure, and that is only something that they can do. So that's why it's pretty important to have these white pigments, not just for the poison, but to find some hidden treasure that is kind of like scurried around each level, or some levels. This next sub level is sub level 4, and there's not really much here, but I feel like I forgot to explain also the other thing about these white pigments. As you notice from the speed on my girlfriend's side, uh, they also have a faster speed. While the purple pigments are strong and much slower, the white pigments, they're quicker when it comes to carrying stuff, and that's something I forgot to mention. And each pigment like kind of has a unique thing to them. Obviously you have yellow pigments that you can throw higher and farther away. Water pigments can save your pigments from drowning but can only be used in the water, right? And the fire pigments just strong, I think they have a stronger attack, and obviously they resist fire. And the thing with poison pigment is they can carry things faster and move faster than that of the normal pigments or any of the other pigments, but they have a weaker attack. So I just thought it was something cool to bring up about like each pigment stat type. Yeah, so I think we're entering the final floor, and this is where things are about to get a little bit interesting. We enter the final floor. Now, I know this boss just like anyone else, and if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. This is the Snagrant, assuming I said the name correctly. I'll double check it in a bit. But for right now, this is where the Snagrant is, and as you can see, my girlfriend is just trying to, throw pigments at like everything, because to be fair, I don't blame her. With the clips I've been showing you guys, I mean, there's been the most random stuff, because that is like Pikmin 2 in a nutshell. Anything could be an enemy, so right here also she's kind of like, I'm maybe in her head telling her stuff, just being like, are you sure, because I don't want the same experience with the Empress, right? But let me quickly fast forward for you guys. So here she does know something is up, and she's in the right location. The Snagrant is in this area. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why it's not spawning yet, but I mean, I guess it does spawn when, like, I don't know if it's a player or pigment that shows up, but here we're seeing her attempt it. Now, of course, I'm not telling her how to fight it, and for those that don't know how to fight the Snagrant, it's really simple. So you can only attack the Snagrant on the head, right? Which is why you saw her when she threw the pigment at the body, nothing triggered. So I am breaking down her mindset of things, and I believe right here she was trying to see if the eggs were like its source of damage, because I remember she was fighting the boss and she was like, how are we supposed to damage this enemy? And she thought maybe we kill the bird's egg and it does damage, but of course I'm like, no, that's not really the case. And here, I don't recall what exactly happened. I don't know if she asked me how to defeat it, but all I know is she uses our poison Pikmin, and I will admit there was one more thing I forgot to mention, and you're seeing it right here with this cutscene. But yes, the other effect about eating a poison Pikmin for the enemies is that it causes them to lose HP because the Pikmins are poisonous, right? So, for some reason, I think after learning this information, uh, you know, she doesn't want to invest the poison Pikmin. I think she'll try using her own body to try and figure out the tech, but as you can see, she's just smacking the bird. Uh, but eventually, I think I do tell her, and we're gonna see it soon. So I start to make my way over. I tell her to grab some Pikmins. I believe she chose the purple ones because I think as we were recording this, I did tell her it is probably one of the most OP Pikmins here, because I'm pretty sure you could stun the Snagren with the purples, but maybe I'm wrong. Correct me in the comments below. But as you can see here, I'm just, I kind of tell her how to fight it. She throws the Pikmin there on top of the head. This is pretty much how you kill the Snagren. The only way to kill it, I believe, with the head. Or, again, you could use Poison Pikmin, but who wants to keep grinding for the Poison Pikmins, right? But yeah, so pretty much I just tell her, like, okay, just make sure you throw the Pikmins at the head, and as soon as they do that, the treasure drops. The treasure that we unlock is called the five-man knapsack, and I'm not gonna lie, probably one of the most useless upgrades for a casual run, because all it really does is pretty much lets you lay down and sleep, I guess. It doesn't really benefit you in a casual run, but I've seen speed runs where this glitch does kind of pay off. So, I mean, hey, if you're speedrunning, cool. But in this case, that's a casual run. At least in my opinion, I've never seen any use for it, so it was probably a useless upgrade. So now that we finished the cave, we are 20% out of debt, and I feel like it's a little bit late. We're like almost 30 minutes to the video, but I didn't explain the story behind Pikmin 2 and what we're trying to do. So pretty much for those that have played the first game, Almar was stranded on this planet. I forgot the name. I should have done research on me, but pretty much was stuck on Earth, and you had to like survive 30 days as Almar by collecting all of his ship parts for him to travel back. And then that's where this game kind of like continues the story, where Almar comes back, but then finds out by the president of the corporation that he's working for that, oh no, we're out of debt, or we're in debt. We're in debt and we need money. So, when Almar finds out, he gets shocked, and then he's like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? One of the treasures that he took from this planet rolls into like the pink ship. I don't know what the ship's name is. The ship scans it, and it was like, you got money. And the president saw this opportunity and was like, oh my gosh, we can make money here. So for the most part, Almar comes back to Earth, or whatever the planet's name, and for the co-op purposes and everything, we take Louis with us, which is why this is 2 players. But that's pretty much the story, and the whole objective is we just have to pay out the debt. As you can see, when we pick up the strawberry, it says 2,000 out of 10,000. So pretty much we're looking to collect as much treasure as possible to get that 10,000 mark. So to wrap up the day, I pretty much just look to get a little bit more of the ultra spicy spray, while my girlfriend is trying to just break the wall with the poisonous wall. It's not really much, but that was pretty much the day. We continue day 4 by coming back into the Awakening Woods to break down the wall, and once we do, I'm not gonna lie, I had her handle the rest because I saw the plant monster here and I knew she didn't really know how those monsters spawn normally. You can typically see an eyeball in the flower, so I thought it was a bit of a jump scare. What did scare me though, actually, was the fact that when that cutscene activated, I know in Pikmin 1, I believe when a cutscene happens, like the game is still in motion, I think, until like it actually gets the like text itself. So I was a little bit scared, but luckily I don't think we lost any Pikmin. She killed the plants, and we were able to find the globe. And keep in mind, in order to unlock new locations on the map, we did need to find these globe. Oh my goodness, my fault, guys. I am like recording this late at night. Again, no script, no nothing, but I am trying to get this video out. But anyways, I use the spray to speed up the white Pikmin's progress because we don't really have much of them, but we really, or at least for me, like to make fast progress, I wanted to like kind of get these walls down. I don't know if they do rebuild. I think they do, and I think that's what the grub's purposes are. So when the grubs spawn, I think they rebuilt the wall, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, right? But for the most part, she gets a globe, and that unlocks a new part of the map for us. Once we cross the water here, we find one of my favorite Pikmins, which are the blue Pikmins. I have like a profile picture on my Switch of the blue Pikmins. I don't know, they feel so derpy, and I don't know, I just like them. I think they're pretty OP when it comes to Pikmin 1. But I don't know, when I was a kid, I just thought out of all the Pikmins, this was probably my favorite Pikmin type, just because of how derpy they look and just the only Pikmin that can go on water. So that's a W. Anyways, at this moment, once I broke down the wall, you guys see on my perspective that I have found a treasure, but also new berries. So this is the other berry type. There's only two variants, and that is the ultra spicy spray and probably one of the other most OP spray, and that is this, I would say purple berries, blackberries. Let me quickly get the name real quick, which is the ultra bitter spray. And what these sprays do for the ultra bitter spray, probably the other OP thing about it, about this game, and that is when it comes to this spray, it pretty much turns any enemy into stone. I think most enemies, I think it doesn't affect bosses, but all enemies besides bosses, it does turn them to stone, and you pretty much have like, I think it's like a 1 or 2 second time frame that you could throw all your Pikmins and pretty much get a kill. So it really does come in handy, and being able to grind a lot of them, I mean, might be pretty sweaty, I'm not gonna lie. But it is good though, it is good. Pretty much for the rest of the day, I just went ahead and got this hidden treasure while she's killing this enemy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but it's called the Ravenous Whiskey Pillar. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Did not even know that was like its name. I just called them a caterpillar. But yeah, they pretty much eat your berries, so that's why we had to kill them. But yeah, all I'm doing here is I'm just getting this hidden treasure. And besides that, we didn't really do too much in this day, because I think we were pretty much locked from doing anything else since we needed blue Pikmins. Technically, we can do this one cave, but just for the casual purposes, I didn't really tell her we should do it like that. We should just get the blue Pikmins, and we'll pretty much get yellow Pikmins before we get the blue Pikmins, so we're going to the next stage. But yeah, not really much today, just, I guess, grinding up any extra stuff that we need. 5, we enter the perplexing pool, and honestly, I could be wrong. I don't know if every map has like a certain size to them, but I think this is one of their bigger maps, and there is definitely a lot more to do here. But we did find our yellow Pikmins, and in order to get to them, I think we need every Pikmin type, the ones that we have so far. We need poison for the poison wall, and I believe fire for the fiery Bulblax that is right in front of it. So after killing the fiery Bulblax and then breaking this poison wall, we have unlocked our yellow Pikmins. Yay! We just spent the rest of the day just grinding up some yellow Pikmins. That's kind of really it. We didn't get any treasures, didn't really go into any caves, so that's really it though. So for the most part, we come back to the Awakening Woods for day 6. I think I told her the plan, and I'm pretty sure our plan here was to just collect a few treasures that we can get with the yellow Pikmin, and also just unlock the blue Pikmins, because I think having all access to the Pikmins this early will just help a lot when it comes to going forward into the caves. Okay, so I was AFK during this clip, but I just wanted to showcase this because this is pretty funny. While working on the editing for this video here, I didn't even realize because I was AFK, she threw a poison Pikmin into the water, and I think she was trying to see how far she could throw the Pikmin to try and reach the bridge. But she does try and save the Pikmin, but I think what ended up happening was the Pikmin, I think it was too late and the Pikmin drowned to death, or the frog in the back, forgot the name of it, pretty sure jumped it and we lost it. But I thought it was just pretty funny, and it just seemed like a bit troll, so I thought I would just show it here. Now that I'm back from being AFK, she decides to go AFK, but we break down the electrical fence that was blocking us from getting the blue Pac-Man. And while I could have gone in and, gotten the blue Pac-Man, I didn't because, again, I've already experienced this whole Pac-Man 2 adventure, so I just wanted her to experience getting these Pac-Mans or unlocking them. So I just kind of left the blue Pac-Mans until she was back, and instead all I did was kind of grind up a bit of more like of these ultra spicy sprays and probably just a little bit more Pac-Mans. So she arrives being back from AFK, we get the blue Pac-Man, and can I just say, look at these blue Pac-Mans, how can you hate them? Uh, but besides that, I think for the rest of the day we just kind of grinded for some more blue Pac-Mans before we ended the day. So day 7 begins and we're back in the Awakening Woods, and again, similar to other days, we're looking to just grind out a little bit more blue Pac-Mans, but because we have blue Pac-Mans, it does open up the whole map to us now. So what we're trying to do here is we're going to break the wall here, and we're going to the bridge that we need the water Pac-Mans to help us with, to kind of break it down and then gain access with our poison Pac-Man to then get access to that second bridge that lets us enter or get to, I guess, access to this next part of the area where there's a cave. A bit of a funny moment here actually. I'm pretty sure she was AFK. She didn't, obviously, who would know in your first gameplay that there's a snackman just guarding this cave. It was just pretty funny. I thought we'd bring that up. She was just AFK, and then all of a sudden a snack would spawn, and she's like, "Oh my god, wait, what? I have to do something." So yeah. But after that interaction, for the rest of the day, I think we just again did a little bit more of some grinding. I think she was tired at this point, so we did just stop to save for another day. But that's kind of really it for this day. And we are back at the Valley of Repose, or Repose. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm just gonna call it we're back in the valley. But anyways, we're here for day 8, and new skin change, new day. So we have an agenda for the next few days, Pac-Man days. We're gonna attempt all the caves going forward here. We have all the Pac-Mans, we grinded up all we need, and that's probably the plan. Okay, I was just kidding. I think in day 8, all we pretty much did was we gathered a few treasures, and because we haven't been in this area of the map since day like 2 or 3, we're pretty much looking to open up the whole map before we do any caves. So we have my girlfriend over here using the blue Pac-Mans to break down the walls, while I'm just getting a few more resources to have more blue Pac-Mans and gathering this treasure here. So for day 9, we decided to come back here, and I think we're looking to just get all the overworld treasures before we do any of the caves. So let me just quickly showcase that and then just jump into the caves. So the start of day 10, we gather our Pikmin and we enter our first cave of the area. And this cave is the Subterranean Complex. This first sublevel that we're in, nothing new. Just meeting some new enemies like this hairy Bull Blacks, and I think we just do what we do normally. kill all the enemies, clear all the hazards, and get the treasure, which is this pretty cool duct tape. But then we enter the next stage. So when we get to this stage, this is where things get a little interesting, because we meet the new enemies here, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but the Dirigibugs, I don't really know how to pronounce it. But for the most part, what these enemies do is they're flying enemies that pretty much drops these bomb rocks, and bomb rocks are pretty scary when you're playing Pikmin, only due to the fact that bomb rocks have an AoE explosion, they can one-shot all your Pikmins, and they can do a lot of damage to your captains. So definitely in this sub-level we had to maneuver carefully while gathering the treasures. Obviously they're not that hard to take down, you throw some Pikmins, they fall down, you have your whole army jump them, they die, and smooth sailing. But I thought I would bring this up because this is the type of hazard that, or enemy, that could really make or break your run in dungeons. So yeah. On sub-level 3 we pretty much just did the same old stuff we did on the last two stages, or sub-levels. Gathered treasure, and I mean kind of just did what we did. I will say though, my girlfriend did die here. I think she was just AFK, probably like a connection error with the multiplayer setting, so happens. But I decided to just get all the treasure myself. As you can see here, here's like a bomb rock moment, and I mean this is just the stuff that happens like in Pikmin 2. Like these bomb rocks can just spawn randomly from the sky, so it's always good to be cautious, especially in these later dungeons. But yeah, I'm gonna get these two treasures and then we head off to the next sub-level. Alright, we enter sub-level 4, and in this sub-level, this is the sub-level that a few of the caves have where they're just like a safe zone. It's just a resting area, pretty much a place where you look to just reset. And also, we did stop the recording and recorded this the next day, which is why you see me in a different skin. I'm no longer Perry the Platypus, but Among Us. So yeah, on to the next level. So we're here in sub-level 5, and I won't lie, I feel like this is the sub-level where, oh, and there goes the explosion of the bomb. But this is the sub-level where I do feel like everyone should know if you've played Pikmin, because I don't think it's randomized. Like they have different structures like when you enter the cave, so it's like randomized in that sense. But that's the reason why I feel like this stage in particular, I do remember this sub-level, even though I haven't like played the game in so long. This was like one of the sub-levels that I just remember because of the amount of bomb rocks there was. It was crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it was a crazy stage. But again, once you get through all the bomb rocks, I mean, you collect the two treasures, and it's, you know, we're in the next level. Now I think I should start talking about what Pikmin 2 is. So we're in one of the caves that I believe is more of a late game cave, where I don't think we're supposed to be doing it now. I mean, I don't think it matters what order you go in, but this is just one of those caves where it should be for more late game once you have more experience with the game. Because what you're seeing here in sub-level 6 and going forward to the other sub-levels, you're going to see like how chaotic Pikmin 2 really is, right? So right here we're meeting new enemies. Obviously we see the flying enemies with the bomb rocks, we see the electrical beetles, we have the poison gas hazard, and then right here in front of you, you see us fighting a new enemy, which there are different variants of them, but they are the Dweevils, I believe is what they're called, and there are different elements to them. Main problem with them is, yes, while they're elemental based and they do affect your Pikmin if they do trigger their elementals, the problem with them is they're really annoying, because they pick up anything that's dead or just your treasure, right? And they start carrying it around. And that just becomes a problem because if they run into the enemies where you don't want them to be, it just becomes a struggle. So I just wanted to kind of explain, like, this is probably what Pikmin 2 is, and probably this chaoticness is kind of the fun of the game, in my opinion. It's stressful, but it is what makes the game, I guess, fun to some degree. Then again, I haven't played any of like Kaizo Pikmin 2, and that probably might be worse, and it might change my opinion. But at least on a casual playthrough, this is something I wanted to showcase. So yeah, let me just showcase the treasures here. Let's first get through this one, and then I will showcase the other treasures for this level, and kind of talk about the next few levels, because there are a few things uh, to talk about. So yeah. So we have arrived at sub level 7, and here, as you see on screen, we meet probably, I mean, I'm always saying probably, but this is one of the, I think, one of the two enemies, maybe three, that is just very, very strong, in my opinion. At least as a kid, when I first saw this, I was like, how, how are we supposed to deal with this? So essentially, the name of the enemy is called the Gatling Groink, and what it does is it's supposed to be like a cannon, right? It sends one place, but it shoots a cannon. And as you see from my screen, this is what happens when you kill it, right? The reason I bring up it's like one of the two or three enemies, uh, like in this game, it has this like ability where even if you quote unquote kill it, it's not technically dead. And what's happening is I don't know, maybe it's sleeping, or I'm assuming it's sleeping, but its soul's not taken away, it's not dead, and it's essentially respawning. So the idea behind it is once you get it low enough and it's in that kill range, in order for it to not revive itself, you have to pretty much carry it back and let the ship absorb it, because if not, it'll just come back with full health and essentially just keep targeting your Pikmins. And this, again, this is definitely one of the more annoying enemies, so not doing that is going to be a problem, right? Like keeping it alive will definitely be a problem. So ideally, I mean, it would be best to just kind of carry it away, and I don't know. The enemy's annoying, not a fan of it, but it does make the game harder. So we'll take that. And we're at sub level 8, which is the second to last level before the final floor. And again, this is another resting area. And to kind of explain this part of the stage, so as you can see on screen, we have something called the Queen Candy Bud, Candy Pop Bud. Yep, I looked up what those flowers were called. They're called Candy Pop or Buds, but you know, anyways, we're at a resting stage, and the difference between the Queen Candy Pop versus like a normal one is that the normal one will pretty much take the amount of Pikmins you throw into it and kind of give you back that same amount. But with the Queen Candy Pop, I'm sorry, I'm messing up the words. If you throw one in, it will give you, I believe, a few more extras than the more you throw or the less you throw. And I think you only can throw one in, and then it just pops out with maybe 6 or 7. I could be wrong, maybe 8. But as you saw, we were around like 32, 33 Pikmins total, but then we got 40 because of it. And so there's a lot of benefits for having those like candy pop in these stages, because you know when you're at a dungeon like this where we were able to kind of leave, I believe it was sub level 6 or 7, there was a geyser that kind of let us go up. That's only because they want to make sure they have enough Pikmins to go forward, right? Obviously, us being us, well, me being me, I kind of just said, let's just kind of run with what we got. And I mean, I guess the payoff, like, kind of paid off here, just because, we're one stage before the final floor. But besides that, though, not really much happened here besides us just getting a few more Pikmins before we were getting ready for the boss itself. So sub level 9, pretty much the final floor of the dungeon, and you can tell just from falling with the web in the middle, the drawing on the ground, that it's probably a spider boss. And this is probably like, I think the late game one, like, I don't know, maybe this is like, I mean, definitely with how the dungeon was going about, floor 9, all of that chaoticness or something, like, it is probably going to be a tough one. So here we meet the man. Okay, I don't know what it's called exactly. I was gonna say man with legs, but no, actually it's called man at legs. Yeah, that's the spider's name, man at legs. Yeah, so this is one of the I believe 3 spiders. There's 3 or 4 spiders total, and this is the spider that might be the harder one, only because, well, maybe not the harder one, maybe second hardest. And that's because there's a mechanic for this spider where this spider, you know, versus the normal spider, which I probably will explain later on once we see it. Yeah, this spider has a freaking gun that he shoots at you, and again, one bullet takes out one Pikmin. And if you just look at my girlfriend's perspective, like, look how fast the thing is shooting, by the way. Like, if you're not careful, if you had a lot of Pikmins behind you, you are. I don't know how you would live that, right? I don't know what they were thinking when they made this character, but I was like, oh my gosh. And then the spider jumps on top of me, and I'm like, no, run. We gotta run. Because right here, I just wanted my girlfriend to get an idea of, like, what the spots entails before I let her fight it. So let me kind of break to those moments. But as you can see, she's just running, running, running. And I mean, eventually I think I told her to reset, but we'll see. I think she's just getting a better idea of how the boss is. Like, so I was gonna say fought, but pretty much here she has a good idea of what to do for the boss. I think I might have told her. I could be wrong, but I think I might have told her, like, you want to hit the man-at legs or this boss when you kind of see their body just go downwards. And oh yeah, so there is a trick, I believe, with this, where if you're playing on a GameCube controller, which in this case, keep in mind, for this multiplayer emulator, she's playing on a mouse and keyboard. She doesn't have a C-stick, but I'm playing on a GameCube controller, so if you have a C-stick, you can essentially, in this game, you can control, like, where you kind of, like, whistle the direction you want your Pikmin to go in, whether that's go left, right, forward, because their default is they'll be behind you, right? But if you use your C-stick and whistle them, you can have them go in front of you, which I believe when, like, fighting this enemy, you probably want to use the C-stick to put the Pikmin in front of you. That way they can't get jumped or they can't get shot at, because the bullets are normally going to be the targets behind you, right? Here I call back. As you can see, I'm using the C-stick to kind of control the Pikmin to go in front of me so they don't get hit. Right here, though, I mean, she doesn't use it, but I guess the missile's still hit. But I know I only called the Pikmin's back here because I was just a little bit scared, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to restart, but I did have her pretty much handle it, and I started helping her afterwards, because it was like, okay, let me just help, because again, like I said, when you're playing on, like, a keyboard and mouse, it's like a little bit scary. And I think what's more insane is that look at this one purple. It was just like that one red, but look at this one purple. The one purple that was following her. I'm so surprised it not die. And then she's gonna use it to fight him. And then I'm like, okay. I'm over here thinking, like, I get the Pikmin. I give them the ultra spicy berry because spray, because I'm like, okay, well, let's just finish this boss now, because I mean, she gets the idea. I should have had her do it, but it's also because she doesn't have, like, a D-pad that lets her use that. And I think we were talking about, like, let me just give them a spicy, right? Like, let's just buff them up. But I just decided to do it from there, and then we get this treasure that we unlocked. So let me skip to talk about this treasure. And the final treasure that we got is called the Stellar Orb. And all this treasure does, and I think it's probably one of the better upgrades for sure, is that it gives brightness in the caves that we're in. So it's really useful. But afterwards, after getting the upgrade, we leave to the geyser and we call it a day. And that's pretty much it. So after leaving the dungeon, we pretty much, for the rest of the day, as you guys probably know from how I've been talking about the other days, we just spent the rest of the day, like, looking for treasures. We didn't look to attempt to go into any more dungeons. I think we're just finishing up all the overworld things as much as we could. We also got 50% on the debt collected, so 50% done with the game. But that's pretty much all we did for the day. Here's the treasure, and on to the next day. So for day 11, we decided to come back to the Awakening Woods, and after the whole last dungeon that we had, we lost a lot of Pikmin, so just for the first half of this day, we decided to just kind of grind out the day, get a few berries, just farm up a little bit more Pikmin, But then we decided to enter the next dungeon. We enter the Bull Black's Kingdom, and I'm gonna say a few things here. So firstly, yes, we did change our skins because we are doing this. We are recording this at, what is it, like a new day? So we're just like new skins. We got a carrot. We got a Kirby. Pretty hype. But secondly, you're also gonna wonder, why don't we have any blue Pikmins? And again, I did feel like we went out of logic with our last dungeon to this dungeon. It also said in this dungeon we don't, or this cave, I don't know what we call it, dungeon cave. They're probably the same thing, right? I'm just gonna call it whatever. But for the most part, we go into this dungeon and yeah, it said that we didn't need any blue Pikmins, so we just kind of went in with like, I think it's glitch. I think it's a visual glitch for the the multiplayer setting that we have. It says we have a total of 91, but I'm pretty sure we went in with like 100. We just didn't bring any blue Pikmins, so. But I'm just gonna, I don't really want to waste anyone's time here, nor do I want to like edit too much. So I'm just gonna probably skip where sub-level 1 and 2, we just gather treasure. Here are the treasures like on screen now. I'll probably not talk for the others, but here they are. So yeah. All right, and to just continue onwards, for this sub-level 3, we just made a new enemy, and I'm not gonna lie, besides that, there wasn't really much that happened in the next few sub-levels from this to sub-level 6, so I'm gonna show the treasures that we collected, but also say that this is the Withering Blowhog, in case we don't know the enemy's name. Yeah. This enemy, all they do is like, again, if your Pikmin has like a flower on their heads, all that enemy really does is just blow the flower off of your Pikmin's head, so they go back to the leaf Pikmins, which isn't really that helpful, and it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And also, looking back, or looking at the clips or the video itself and editing it, yeah, like I said, there's not much besides us just getting treasures and everything. But the other thing about this stage, it feels like there's like a lot of like white and purple buds, like candy pop buds. So they probably wanted you, and I'm not gonna lie, looking back, it does seem like that with all the clips, they really wanted you to get white Pikmins for this, especially because there's a lot of treasures like underground. So for those that are playing in their future runs, probably keep that in mind when you get to the Bull Black's Kingdom. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, but just keep in mind, probably have your white Pikmins ready to go. If not, it's fine, but there's probably treasures underground, so yeah. Anyways, here's the boss. Finally, the last sub-level of the dungeon, and that is, well, the floor boss, which is the Emperor Bull Blacks. Now, for those that have experience, especially from the first game, you do know how strong the Bull Blacks is, the Emperor Bull Blacks. Maybe in Pikmin 2, I'm not sure if it's like as strong as it was in the first game, because it was definitely bigger, I will say. But for sure, at least in the second game, a little more doable, a little smaller, and except I think the big difference is there's no bomb rocks, because normally in the first game what you would do for this boss is you would throw bombs at it. So again, I'm going to just show you like what my girlfriend does, because again, it comes to bosses, she's making the choice of, we're going to break down this wall. I'm going to just show when we get to the actual combat itself, so let's move to that real quick. So we enter the actions part of the video, or this boss, and I believe the game plan here was I would buff up the Pikmin with the ultra spicy, and then my girlfriend then takes action. She already woke up the Bull Blacks, the Emperor, so she does get to see what the Emperor does, or kind of does, not really with the Pikmin with the tongue, but yeah, so she has buff Pikmins and she's trying to throw them, but as you can see the HP, we're losing. I think we lost like 10, I believe, but I don't know what to say, guys. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know what to say. It was kind of anticlimactic because of the fact that I don't know. The poison Pikmin kind of did everything. I guess it's similar to like the first game with like the bomb rocks, right? For those that have played the first game, as I mentioned before, when the Emperor eats the bomb rocks, it does. I think it just stuns. I don't think it does damage, but I think it stuns. But I guess it's kind of the same effect here, where I guess if it eats the poison Pikmin, it takes a lot of damage. So I guess that would explain why maybe there was like a lot of white flower candy pop buds here, because they maybe thought you should eat your poison Pikmin. I don't know, but uh, I don't know. But again, once you defeat a boss, you get a upgrade for your captains. In this case, we got the upgrade called the Forge Courage, and this upgrade was pretty decent. I mean, it helps pretty much fire resistance, I guess is what I would just say. You just have fire resistance, you don't take any damage from fire anymore, so it's useful. It's useful for sure. So for the rest of the day, we pretty much just spent our time grinding up some more spices, but also decided to grab some blue Pikmin and start working on the first part of the bridge. That way we can get ready for the next cave that's coming up. So beginning of day 12, we decided to just speed up everything. Get our blue Pikmins. Yes, we got 100 blue Pikmins. And of course, I have to let my girlfriend handle everything just because, again, the experience part, right? Just let her have fun with it. Just let her get, to that mindset. But yes, she's going to kill this Wallywag, I believe is what they're called. And she'll do the bridges. Bridge is complete. And I will say this. We are going for this treasure. And this treasure is probably one of the most unique treasures to at least collect in this game versus the other treasures. As you know, every other treasure was like digging underground with the poison Pikmin or the white Pikmins, or they're just like ant monsters, pretty standard stuff. But I feel like this treasure, the collecting wise, right, I think it's really unique and cool in the sense that it really does feel like this treasure is abusing the two-player aspect of the game. Now, I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to hate on every other collectible treasures where it's like maybe it's not that good, or I don't really know where I'm going with that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that like so far in the video, if you made it this far, it just felt like every treasure that I've shown was really just stuff that you could do Pikmin 1, right? And then with the whole Pikmin 2, the whole introduction is having two captains and being able to like do this two co-op thing. I think they made better use of it in Pikmin 3, to be honest, with more like splitting your captains up and like being able to throw your captains. But definitely this was just more of an example that I thought would be that I should just talk about because I thought it was pretty cool that they kind of applied the whole not two player thing, but like the two captain aspect there. But yeah, so we were trying to collect this treasure, and as everyone remembered earlier when my girlfriend went up here last time, there was a Snagrant, so I'm just having her kill this, and we're gonna kill that other plant monster. Still don't know the name of it, so could comment below letting me know what it is. But as soon as she finished killing it, we break the wall, and with the wall being broken, we gather our Pikmins and we head down to the next cave. So we enter Snagrant Hole. I don't know. I mean, from the name, you can probably tell that this is like a Snagrant dungeon. I don't know where this like dungeon kind of like, I guess, difficulty like stand. Maybe it's difficult, maybe it's easy. I think it's in the middle. Well, maybe it leans a little bit towards more harder because there's a few more sub levels than like a normal cave for tutorials. So definitely should still have experience fighting a Snagrant. But definitely not too difficult of a dungeon. I really like this sub-level 1 design also, just because of the fact that if you guys are looking at the screen, I mean, the whole thing is like, when you first enter, you enter through like, I would say the roots or like the under part of the tree, especially considering how the cave was like underneath the tree, because like the whole design of this level 1 is just like, yeah, it just feels like you're in a tree, right? Got like that tree stump, and then, I don't know, stump. Then you're like in a birdhouse, I believe, where the cave is, so it's pretty cool. Here are the treasure. It's like a feather for the first one, cool design, and then the second one is like this marble. But yeah, so we're at sub level 2, and they kind of lost the tree theme. It's nature. I think they still have a theme going on, but not really much action happened here. So here's treasure 1 and treasure 2. And on to the next stage. Sub-level 3. So this sub-level, it looks peaceful, but as you can see from my gameplay, I think maybe I watched too many videos at this point to have an idea. but I'm pretty sure I called out that this was like a snaggered floor. This was an interesting twist, I will say, because I know as a kid I thought these snaggerins were like bosses and everything. So definite, and I think they're considered bosses. I'm pretty sure, but the fact that they just kind of threw snaggerins like this, and I don't know, I think they can be affected by the bitter spray. So maybe a mini boss. I don't know how to explain it, but they kind of just threw them out here, kind of like they're enemies or something, like normal enemies that you could just kill whenever or however, versus like these kind of like the bull blackses, like the emperor and empress. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting. But this floor, we just killed the bull blacks, or sorry, not the bull blacks, the snagrins, both snagrins, and gathered the treasure and made our way down the cave. So stage 4, there wasn't really anything besides this treasure. So this sub-level is an interesting one. Sub-level 5 is only interesting due to the fact that you guys see at the bottom right of the screen of both our perspectives, there is our radar is going crazy. And that is because, as you can see from how my girlfriend's fighting, we meet something called the antenna beetles. And essentially what they do is, again, as you saw the craziness of our tracker, it essentially just messes up your whole, like, finding treasures. And I believe it also, I could be wrong, but I could have sworn that the beetles, the antenna beetles also, because they also have a whistle similar to like your captains, they actually can take control of your Pikmin, or like not like take control, but like have your Pikmin follow the beetles instead, which would kind of like cause enemies to just run at your Pikmins and have them die, right? So that's just a new monster that I probably wanted to showcase. Also a really annoying one. Here's the treasure that we found, and I mean here's the other treasure, and yeah, I mean, let's just head to the next stage. So now we enter this next sub-level, and this one is probably the most confusing one that I've dealt with in all the caves, and that's only because of the fact that, well, several things. For one, or maybe not several things, but for one, it's the candy pop buds. I thought normally when you see them, it's like a resting area, and it's kind of like the level where it's like, there's nothing to worry about. Farm some more Pikmins, build up, get ready for the final floor, which final floor is happening, sub-level 7. But no, instead we have this antenna beetle that's just somewhere on this level, a lot of treasures to collect, and, well, crazy enough, I mean, the name is kind of in the cave, but did I say that correctly? But pretty much there's a snaggerant here. So, I mean, I don't really know. But regardless, we deal with the snaggerant here. We gather all these treasures right in front of you. Then we head down to the final floor. Alright, so we're just jumping right into the boss stage. Yep, so same game plan. My girlfriend's just going to figure out like what the enemy does or what the boss does before we actually attempt it. She sees that it's not the normal snaggerant. It is the pileated snaggerant. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name because that is going to be awkward. But pretty much for everyone to understand like how the boss works, pretty simple concept. The difference between the two is, well, they pretty much have the same fighting style, so you can kind of kill them the same way. Only difference is that the burrow snaggerant is the full name of it. They obviously can't move, versus the pileated, as you can see, has one leg and is hopping around. So the only difference is that one can hop around and the other one just stays in one place. There's not too big of a difference here, but for the most part, I think my girlfriend got the hang of like how to play Pikmin, and probably also knows how to fight these snaggerants. So I'm just gonna skip forward to the boss because really at this point now I'm just helping her because I mean she knows how to fight it. She's just missing. That's kind of really it. But yeah, so I'll just skip to the upgrade. The upgraded treasure that we got was the Justice Alloy, and really all this treasure does is that it helps your captain take reduced damage. So it's a pretty good upgrade, but I mean, okay, I mean it's a pretty good upgrade, I can't lie. So yeah. And I would say pretty much as we leave through the geyser and enter back to our ship area, we use the final like few minutes of our day to pretty much just gather all like just a few more resources because we pretty much have finished the Awakening Woods and we're heading off to other stages or to the other worlds, and I don't think they have the same plans, so it's just good to grind it out. But that's pretty much all we did for the rest of the day. So for the most part, we didn't waste any time. Day 13, we jumped right into the Pikmins. We got out of our Pikmins and we started heading towards the next cave. I just wanted to showcase this part because I was teaching my girlfriend how to deal with these decorated cannon beetles is what their names are. I just wanted to showcase this in case anyone else was also wondering, because there's like two variants of them. There's like a green and red one. Keep in mind they both shoot out like these boulders, except the green ones, they can only go in like one direction. So like wherever you fire it or wherever they fire it, it will always go in like that straight direction. Okay, that's a little weird, but for the most part, these red ones are more homing when they shoot out their boulders. So there's actually a cool trick here where, you know, if you don't want to deal with killing the enemies, you can actually have these boulders, as you can see from the screen, that you know, my girlfriend is just trying to have the boulder try and chase her that way, because if it's homing, right? So she just needs to lead it towards the enemy to try and kill them with it, and you can have the boulders kill the decorated armor beetles themselves is the thing. That also works. So I just thought I want to showcase that. But with that said, though, I mean, we finished doing all this and then we entered the next cave. So, yep. We enter the final dungeon or cave in the Valley of Repose, and that is the Frontier Cavern. And let me just first say, this is definitely the hardest one for where the game is at right now is the thing. I'm pretty sure this is one of the hardest caves. I could be wrong. But it's definitely going back into like maybe like a 2 caves or 3 caves ago. It's definitely more of a late game cave for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about a few stuff that's gonna happen. That's for sure. But for this first sub level, you know, nothing really happened. Just got treasure, and I'm just gonna fast forward. We just got treasure. Here it is, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next cave. So we enter sub level 2, and not cave, sub level, my fault. But we entered the sub level, and I believe I went AFK here. I probably went to do something, so I had my girlfriend handle it. I have to show this because this is just crazy to me. Like, look at this spawn. We spawn in, and there's 2 decorated cannon beetles there, and we went from 94 Pikmins to 90 or 65 total. Like, we lost about 30 Pikmins, and because I'm AFK, I am just getting beat down, like, by these boulders, which is crazy to me. And I don't know what to say. Like, maybe this is why I'm saying this is probably the hardest cave, because I'm looking back at the clips and I'm like, I'm getting, like, BS like this. Like, what is this spawn? But I just had to showcase that we spawned in like this, and did we eventually take care of it? I mean, again, I was AFK this whole time. My girlfriend was the one handling this, and she attempted it, but like, look at that rock, bro. How did that rock just go up a cliff like that? Like, 11 more Pikmins lost, and I mean, what the heck? And I mean, we eventually killed both of them, but like, at what cost? You know, that was like almost half of our Pikmins. I mean, that practically is half our Pikmins lost just from this spawn. So I don't know. I'm kind of sad, but well, that happened. So, anyways, showcase the treasure and on to the next sub level. All right, sub level 3, and here I got a few things I'm gonna talk about here. Firstly, again, when we spawn, most craziest thing happened. So we see a spotted bull bear, right? If you guys remember how I talked about the Gatling groins, this was the other enemy where if you kill them, quote unquote kill them, they actually can revive on down. So as you can see here, I'm burning an ultra spray, bitter spray, because I'm not gonna lie, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, they typically burn it for these guys because of how annoying they are, and I mean, I don't doubt it, because the other thing about these guys is, or the spotted bull bears, is that they have this other, like, I don't know why, but they have, like, essentially this no fear factor, because typically a lot of enemies will never come close to your base, but they are one of the few enemies that they don't care about that restriction. They will just go forth, and still attack you, so it's fine to kind of burn it there. And then next we meet, I don't know what they're called, but they're just small. Essentially, they're bulbmen is what they're called. Yes, the small guys are bulbmen. I don't know what the mother is called, but pretty much here's the other thing I want to explain. But we get these bulbmen now. The dungeons are hard or gonna be tough if they're giving you bulbmins. That, or I don't know if there's a way for them to spawn, but the way that these bulbmin works is, as you just saw, when you kill the mother bulbmin, right, you essentially get these smaller versions of her, and they just become essentially your Pikmins. Only difference is that they're only allowed in caves, and you cannot take them outside of the caves, which kind of sucks because I mean, as a kid, I thought they were pretty cool, and I don't know, kind of, I don't know, I think they're pretty powerful in their own rights, right? Because pretty much the difference between them versus the other Pikmins is that they're more of like this, like, normal type, if you want to, like, do Pokemon terms. They're like the neutral types. They can handle fire, water, and I believe electricity and poison, so they're fine with, like, any stats, right? Like, they don't get affected by any stats. The only difference is obviously they're considered like their weight is only like one Pikmin versus like the purples, but regardless, I think it's still like a really good fit. But that's what I want to talk about. So again, here's a few treasures and on to the next sub-level. So the sub-level, not much happened. Just gather treasures, and all that there really was for this sub-level was these electrical beetles. That's kind of really it. Yeah, sorry, not really much here. And we're back to one of the resting levels, except the only difference with this one is we see a new enemy, and don't be alarmed. This isn't actually an enemy. Yes, my girlfriend is killing them. That's because I was explaining it, but she didn't hear me clear. I don't think she heard me clearly because she just started killing them. I'm pretty sure I'm explaining it to her though. I don't know. I hope I am, because I'm gonna explain to you guys what they are. They are the Mamutas. I think I said their name correctly. Let me just double check. Yeah. For the most part, what these guys are is they are enemies that are harmless to Pikmins, and while they do damage you, they don't actually have any other value besides that, right? So the idea that, or what's supposed to happen here is, if you see on my screen, the Kirby, you notice that now we have Pikmins that I just plucked up from the ground, and they have petals or like flowers on their head. And that is because what the Mamutas do is that while they do some damage to you if you're underneath them, if you have Pikmins underneath them and they get squashed, as you see right here with the examples, they actually get turned into flowers. So they're, again, harmless to Pikmins, and they really are beneficial. Of course, you don't have to kill them unless they have a treasure in them, which I think this guy does. So, unfortunately, while we want to be nice guys, we kind of need that cash. I'm gonna be real. But besides getting this treasure, not really much happened here, because again, it's just a resting stage. While we do have 45 Pikmins, I mean, I think we're just gonna commit for it anyways, because surely, so long as we have purple Pikmins, we can lift up treasures, and if treasures are underground, we have white Pikmins for it. So again, we could definitely work with like a few Pikmins, so long as we don't, start losing it because of like dumb stuff that happens. But yeah, sadly, killing the Mamutas did help us unlock a new treasure that you can only find at this floor, which is the Brute Knuckles. And I know I said bosses would normally give you like these upgrades to your captain, but I guess some enemies kind of like allow that. But yeah, we get the Brute Knuckles, and all that really does is now it allows the captains to now combo their attacks. So we do stronger attacks now, which is really nice. Besides that though, entering the next two sub-levels, sub-levels 6 and 7, we kind of just did everything, nothing too crazy. Killed all the enemies, gathered treasures. I mean, sub-level 7 might have had rocks that fell down, but besides that, I mean, the cave itself is already hard enough, so I don't really know. There's not much to say. Here are the treasures that are going to be on screen, and on to the final floor though. Final floor, sub-level 8. So, a boss makes a return visit. For those that have played the game, you probably know who it is. But obviously for those that don't, I mean, we're gonna see them very soon. But again, same situation. I have my girlfriend. Again, just go ahead, handle, see what's going on, because I know what's gonna be ahead of us. And as you can see, she's hitting like these new bulborbs. Yep. Uh, but their names are just called, they're larvae, I think is what you would call them. Larvae bulborbs. So that's their full name. But pretty much, as you can see, I'll kind of break down how my girlfriend approaches the situation. So she sees these small guys and she's like, where's the boss, right? You know, so she's looking around and then she sees the geyser, which is great. But then she keeps seeing these guys, and I'm gonna say this right now: the way that the larvae works is, yes, they get one shot by by the captains, but I don't know if they get one shot by Pikmins. They might, but the flip side is that they actually eat your Pikmins way faster before your Pikmins can react. Is the thing, I'm pretty sure. So that's why it's ideal that you have your captain smacking them while your Pikmin is handling the big boss. And you know, lo and behold, we see right in front of us, day one, our first ever boss, the Empress, is back, and they're pooping out the larvae. Because if you remember at the very beginning of the video, I kind of talked about how we'll see this, you know, the Empress again, and of course, here we are. And with this other mechanic, with the larvae here. So, you know, I'm gonna go towards my girlfriend, and I believe this is our game plan, so let me showcase the fight. So, with the power of teamwork, this was our game plan. I would pretty much just handle the larvae because, again, with the captains, I'm pretty sure only captains can really deal with these guys. I mean, maybe Pikmins can if you throw it at them, obviously, but it's not ideal. But while I handle the larvae, my girlfriend handles the Empress herself. And of course, you're going to see me constantly try and call back the Pikmins, only because sometimes she would throw it too far, or sometimes the Pikmin will go too far, and she can't reach it, so I just kind of handle it. Me over here thinking, like, oh, so they're going to poop out? Nope, nope, nope. So right here, yeah, I mean, again, I'm just constantly trying to call them back. I'm just trying to, like, make sure that, oh, everything's going to be okay, right? Like, we're going to have enough Pikmins. Yeah, I mean, there's not really. I mean, I don't know. The fight was definitely something. She definitely learned, so my girlfriend definitely learned. But as you can see from my perspective, the Kirby, again, keep in mind, I'm the Kirby. I don't know why I reacted the way I reacted. I did not call them back, and when the larvae did come out, I just threw my Pac-Mans thinking I was in melee range. That is, like, actually on me, so I made sure to spam them here. And then, of course, look at the Empress HP, by the way. 1 HP! Oh my god, and because of that, I thought we could have, like, committed fully, but no, we lost all of our purples in that interaction, and I was very sad. I was like, oh my gosh, even if we kill it here, I was thinking, there's no way we have enough for the treasure, right? Because surely the treasure is going to be a lot. Because I think I'm just sitting there in, like, a little bit of disappointment in myself, because I'm like, dude, I kind of just into that, right? I just want to say one thing here. I promise you guys, not scripted or anything, but the fact that the treasure was 12 Pikmin and we had exactly 12 Pikmin. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know where our other Pikmin is. There was, like, we had 11, but it says we have a total of 12. So I was praying that this wasn't like a visual glitch or something, but I am just, yeah, and there's this one random white Pikmin back at base. But that is just insane to me. That, again, not scripted, none of that stuff. I mean, how can you script a flipping game like this, right? Like, that was just insane that we had exactly 12. That was pretty clutch. We unlock not the final upgrade, but one of the upgrade. Maybe it's the final upgrade, I'm not sure. But we did unlock a captain upgrade, which is known as, I can't pronounce the name, so I'll just call them the Rush Boots. And on screen you're seeing what the effect does. We essentially move faster, but we also cannot be affected by the, what are they? The windy blowhogs or whatever the name is. But with that said, though, we escaped through the geyser, and there's something I have to show you guys. We had 11 Pac-Man left over. We had probably the most intense start in this whole Frontier Cavern, and we didn't leave. But look at the deaths of Pac-Man we had. 102 Pac-Mans. The Bulbmans definitely came in clutch, but I think it's just the fact that this cave was probably the most, like, I would say fun, because of how challenging it was, for sure. Challenging and, like, being really conservative about your Pac-Mans and whatnot. I think it was a really fun one. But with that said, though, we pretty much finish all the caves in the Valley of Repose, and we head on to our final destination. And finally, we're back at the perplexing pool. The last time we were here was to just get yellow Pikmins, then we never returned. But of course, skin change, you know what that means. New day for us, pretty much. Because the last session was like, for that recording was like about 4 hours, so yeah, you know, the vibes. We just have to do new skin for every new day that we're playing, and here it is. We're going with, I'm assuming, Bulbmin fan after the whole Bulbmins, and then we have me as Yoshi. Thought it'd be pretty fitting for the Yoshi to come into play. But with that said, we check out what Pikmins we need, and then we enter, I would say, our final cave because of the treasure. There are still some treasures out here, so we did 100% it, but this is the last cave, I believe, before we hit the depth. The depth? Okay, the pretty much the payout, which is 10k. The Citadel of Spiders. And look, I'm just gonna keep it real with you guys. After going through all those tough dungeons beforehand, going into this one, it's kind of light work. So what I mean by that is that there's nothing crazy. You guys have seen it all pretty much, and really all you're expecting here is just the treasure. So for my own sanity of editing this whole thing, but also to save you guys time from all this, I'm just going to showcase the treasures that we've collected, and we'll kind of go from there. So if we're going to talk about any treasure, 50 gold by the way, was the lip surface treasure that got us to our goal of 10k. Woo! Celebrate! But that's really it. Okay, time to showcase all the treasure, because again, pretty much for the rest of the time, I'm just gonna say this now, I already looked ahead. There's nothing crazy, so treasure, final floor, here we go. With that said, that is all the treasures that we've collected in every single cave that I have showcased in this video. And right here, I'm going to showcase the final boss, which isn't the gunning spider this time. Hey, it's Beady Longlegs. And for those that have played the first game, obviously, as you know, well, this is technically the last treasure, but Beady Longlegs is pretty much the first spider you're supposed to face. He had a simple mechanic where all he does is go stomps on your Pikmin, but so long as you have yellow Pikmins, you can reach him at any elevation, or you know, if you want to use your other Pikmins, you just wait for him to go down. That's just the way to fight him. He's not that I don't even know. Well, pretty much Beady is not that hard of a boss to fight, so obviously, you know, with all that experience my girlfriend went through, I mean, let's be real, is this really a challenge at this point? But yeah, we finally unlocked this last treasure. The name of this treasure is called the Key. All this treasure does is that it pretty much allows to have like this new game mode to be added to your Pikmin game, which is called the challenge mode. It's really fun and would love to do a series on it, so if you guys want to see that, just comment below. With that said, we leave through our geyser and we enter the perplexing pool once more, but of course with something different when it looked. As we see here, we have the 100% repaid the entire debt. Yes! And kind of with that said though, it pretty much triggers a cutscene, so regardless, we couldn't have even gotten the treasure in the overworld. We could have, and maybe that would have been it, but I think maybe I did the calculations. Actually, I don't think we would have had enough regardless. But still, with that said though, we've essentially finished playing Pikmin. I mean, the journey was fun. It was all great and everything. And honestly, you know, I don't know why I held back making like editing this video. I mean, again, it probably was that laziness, but I really should have just kind of like do it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, kind of like getting myself to do it. I just saw myself being able to like grind out like the edit over multiple days. I want to point that out. I mean, obviously, if my audio couldn't have been told, then like yes, it's through multiple days. And yeah, if you see the cutscene, we did lose Louis as we're going through to the back. as we're going back home, and I don't know, I think that's funny. But for the most part, for those that have played Pikmin 2, as you know, once you've completed this 10k, the game is technically not over. There is a fourth stage. There is a more, this is more of like true ending, as you can say. This is kind of like the ending, but there's a true ending where you get to go back to the stage, but this time you go with the president, and you know, you go back and you complete more stages, right? I mean, you see here we have Louis in the background now, and there's like a completely new stage with like 4 new caves. There's this one treasure that I would talk about, but of course this is the end of the video because this is really all that me and my girlfriend played up to. For those that want us to play the true ending of Pikmin 2, just comment below and let us know. Give this video a like. Really means a lot to me. It shows how much you appreciate it and you want that second part to come out pretty soon. But also, please, if you guys have the time for it, you know, it would mean a lot if you could subscribe because, you know, if you enjoyed this type of content, I mean, will I make something like this again? I'm not gonna lie, maybe, depends on the content, I will be real, but for the most part, this took a lot of editing, it took a lot of time, and knowing myself, maybe for right now, maybe it's best to keep it more simpler than do something like this. So for sure, you can expect like other challenge videos coming into the future of the channel and whatnot like that. But I guess with that said though, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I mean, I don't know what else to say besides thank you guys so much for watching, and my girlfriend also thanks you guys as well. So yeah, I guess with that said, see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.